Good morning, tribe. Keith Norris here, along with my very, very good friend Brian Bradley, Vice President of Egoscue. Brian, how you doing, brother?
Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, all things considered. Pretty dang good.
Yeah, this is a interesting time we're in. Both of us having the companies that we do, and
Right.
it's been an interesting time. But building the stuff on online is massive, and to be able to contribute like this is huge. So anything you
Awesome.
need.
Absolutely. May you live in interesting times. Right. um, Brian, I think first thing that people want to know, I know a little bit of the background story. Let me preface this by saying that I have used the Egoscue method. We'll talk about what the method is, who came up with it, and all the ins and outs of it. But just to preface this conversation, I was absolutely amazed at how effective it was in treating a chronic injury that I had for years and could not resolve, and tried every other method, you name it. And I have access to all kinds of very, very good practitioners, very cool people. But all of those methods got me to about 95%, but could not get me over the edge. And I just thought, well, that's just the way it's going to be. I'm just going to have to go along. It happened to be a knee issue, which, surprise, surprise, didn't really originate in the knee. So we can talk about that here in a little bit too. But after seeing our good friend Rick Mathis here in Austin, it wasn't a couple of weeks, and I didn't even. I was sprinting one day, and I thought, I don't have any pain. I don't have any gimp. It was nothing short of amazing. And so I'll just turn it over to you. Can you tell us, Brian, quickly, who was this Pete Egoscue guy, and what was his methodology that he came up with?
Yeah, luckily I ran into him about 30 years ago, and I ran into Rick Mathis, 20 years ago, and he's one of my longest clinic owners, being at the Austin Egoscue Clinic. Great guy. When you run into a guy like Pete Egoscue, he's a combat veteran, Marine Corps, out of Vietnam, and the method was really born in 1971 when he finally got sick and tired of people telling him, like you, it's going to have to live with it. It's kind of up here a little bit, we think, too.
Right.
He's coming out of combat, so it's got to be up here. He's basically going, I'm going to flip this guy's desk over. He's angry. He's a Marine. He's a problem solver. And basically it came down to him picking up Gray's Anatomy. And for those of you out there that are practitioners, Gray's Anatomy to a political science degree Marine Corps major, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's one of those things where you look at it and go, yeah, okay, this is like reading hieroglyphics, and I barely speak English. So you look at it, and he looked at it and looking at it going, okay, well, if this is connected, that's connected. Why don't I just do this? Why don't I just change this? So he ends up fixing himself based on just moving. And then it transitions into this thing where he retired from the Marine Corps, worked on his friends, picked up a Volkswagen van, traveled around San Diego, and became what they call the Milk Run. And then that turned into a clinic, and that turned into 30 plus clinics where we are now, with the worldwide. And luckily during this crisis, we do so much online work to over 85 countries already, because people don't have the access like you with a clinic down the street. So the online version, doing Skype, FaceTime, Zoom my schedule today is a mess because of everything, how much we have to do. Because I normally travel and fly and do speaking events, that's where I thought I was busy. Well, COVID-19's changed that for me a little bit. I think I'm actually busier. I'm in my office, my garage home studio here. And until we open back up, I don't know if this is ever going to change. Because for us, people are now telling us, I don't care if I ever see you in person. This online stuff is allowing you to see me in my house, right, using my equipment. I don't have to leave. It's been massive. So this whole transition from what Pete Egoscue's built over time, and let me just tell you this real quick. In 1991, 2, and 3, when we started doing distance therapy, we were using beta tapes and VHS tapes. So those of us that are our age, we remember this. All your 20-year-olds are going, they use what?
Right. I do remember those. Absolutely, I do. And I can speak to, yes, you're right, Brian. I am lucky. Rick's office is not too far from my house. So I am lucky. I can go in and see Rick in person. However, Our director, our AV director for Paleo FX, lives outside of, I want to say it's Telluride, out in that area. His daughter is a U16 skier, and she's in one of the programs out there that is a feeder to the Olympics. I put him in touch with Rick, and Rick was able to do distance work on Michaela, who is his daughter. And when you saw this girl ski, you could tell she had hip imbalances, and you could just tell, and I trained her a little bit on the on the strength and conditioning side, but you could tell she was wonky to put up. And I was like, that's not my thing, Michael, but I know whose thing it is. So let me put you in touch with Rick. And at that time, I thought, well, he comes into Austin quite a bit. I thought, well, they're going to have to travel in. Rick will see her, or they'll find an office in Colorado. He did all of this work distance-wise, and it changed her trajectory in skiing.
Imagine those of you, I mean, everybody who has kids that's on this podcast, everybody understands that take care of my kid and I'll love you for life. That kind of stuff. It's take care of my dog, I'll love you for life. My kids the same way. We'll put ourselves to the side to take care of other people. Here's an X-ray, and I just thought about this. We were talking about this little girl. This is a 2018, and I know it's a little tough to see, so let me tilt it down. There we go.
Right.
You guys can see that scoliosis curvature. Is that pretty clear?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
It's kind of backward because we have the after on the left, which is what our system does, but this is the before and after with her in a year.
It's amazing. It's amazing what this does. And maybe you can speak a little bit, because I wasn't sure either. I mean, I kind of got it, the difference between Egoscue and chiropractic work, right? And if ever chiropractic comes into play, because and I love chiropractic work, absolutely love it. The downside of it is it doesn't fix the musculature. So you get adjusted, and your musculature imbalances pull you back out of adjustment in a short period of time. So you have to go back and back and back and back, and it doesn't stick per se.
I have two chiropractors here, actually three of them. Sabi over here, and I have Dr. Paul Hodgson, and I have Dr. Sean Drake. And Sean Drake works with TPI, On Base, Racket Fit, does a lot of world speaking, all that stuff. I choose to see them not because, hey, I'm bored, but I'm thinking, maybe they can do a neurological adjust, read my ankle, what's going on with this, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going in because I have this injury. And I came from the downhill mountain biking world, which is torn labrum, 2 ACL reconstructions, blood clot, broken fibula, separated shoulder, dislocated shoulder, bulging disc, herniated disc, fractured transverse process. When you hit a tree at 60 miles an hour and do cartwheels down a 400-foot ravine, you're going to get a little tweaked. I should have been in a wheelchair, for sure. But what I looked at it was, it's an opportunity. Like, I looked at that and just said, okay, this sucks. But what am I supposed to learn from this? I chose psychologically to say, the universe kind of slowed me down a little bit because I'm like this. It slowed me down. It brought me back to family, because every weekend I was going up to Big Bear, to Bryan Head, to Mammoth, to go away mountain biking for 3 days. Well, who was I leaving behind besides everybody? When I'm a brand new kid at this point, brand new meaning kind of just born when I say brand new, but he's 0, 1, 2, 3 years old. And here I am going away to do this. It just didn't make sense. So once the injury hit, I was like, wow, okay, I get it. And then I had a second one a year later, and I'm like, okay, I'll put up the mountain bike. And I started playing the great sport of table tennis, which, is America's sport. And not really, but still, it's okay. Looking at it from the standpoint of, how do you take these injuries and create opportunities? On the chiropractic end, I use these chiropractors because, I could use an adjustment to my mid-back, and let's talk shop. I choose it because I want to have it, not because I need to have it. So that scoliosis picture, they might say, well, I'd really like to get my hands on that and do some slight adjustments or some network and all that. Okay, great. But the muscular end is what your friend's daughter was missing. The muscular support to make the chiropractor's job easier. So I know there are people on here who are in the strength world, the chiropractic world, the physical therapy world, the acupuncture world, the massage world, the personal training world. I promise you, when you add Egoscue as your foundation for training, it changes everything.
Right.
And we invented, I will flat out tell you this, we invented the idea of functional training back in the 80s when the word never existed. And I was on stage at a strength and conditioning show and somebody said, you guys are the ones who think that laying on your back actually makes you bigger, faster, stronger. Well, you take a person who's shaped like this in their mid-back and their head's up here like this, the shoulders are rotated and one's forward, and you put them on their back, the floor itself straightens out the spine. So when the spine's in a natural S-curve, could it be that you are now bigger, faster, stronger because the spine is more mobile and able to do more work efficiently? I mean, this isn't rocket science. Just trust your instincts about that question.
Right.
But most people, can I show you something on this whiteboard?
Absolutely, yes, please do.
So I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit by my manual moving. My kid's car's right here too, so I gotta make sure he's. When you have someone who looks like this, and these little squares on here are your 90-degree angles, they're a little hard to see, I get it. But if a person looks like this from the side view, okay, and this is them smiling, and it goes straight down like this. And that's as straight as it can get. Here, let me sign this in case this becomes, it's the one of one.
Claim the fame.
Maybe we'll auction this off, right? So this is a person's hip, should be like this. The person's shoulder should be like that. And when that happens, you have homeostasis. Really, in the COVID-19 stuff, if we talk about this, you're either A, affected by COVID-19, we're affected, meaning at home, we're changing business,
right,
or you're infected. Either way, you're affected by the virus. It's kind of important to have correct lung tissue function. So when this happens, if a person's head goes up here, they're frowning, right? Their neck is like this, their upper back is rounded like this, the pelvis is swayed forward, and their body's like that, and possibly their pelvis is tilted under or posterior, like no butt. And when this happens, this becomes your driver right here, instead of this becoming your driver. So everybody knows, you know, the great fighter Conor McGregor. I got him 12 days before the Cowboy fight. And you saw the Khabib fight when he was in there. And this is a picture that's out on, this has been out for a long time. So
we call those power leaks, by the way, Brian, in the strength and conditioning world, that what you drew up there, all those little power sucks, that drain potential power production out of the body, which is what happened to Michaela, right?
Oh, bro. How's that for a power suck?
Right.
Listen, he entered that fight
right
with an unfair advantage because Khabib's look at his shoulder position
right
compared to Khabib's, and somebody would say, well, a boxer should be here. Yeah, I'll give you that. A boxer should have a little bit of rounding to protect his face, but not kyphosis.
Right.
And we've got to get it to a point where, and I'll give you guys some exercises to do on here, because what do we have, like 4 hours left?
Oh yeah, easily.
No, but we'll get some points, and sorry, but I think God's sending the sun to my face right now. When you look at this, start thinking cause versus effect. Start asking why. Start thinking, how do I get myself out of chronic pain by going after the cause? And just like you, I've done 20 different modalities. My job isn't to say, Egoscue's so great, it's better than every modality. That is just not true. That is just not true. I have friends in the FMS world. I have friends in the TPI world. I have friends in the on-base world. I have friends in the NSCA, which is certified strength and conditioning world, PT. I told you, I share information with them. They're absolutely effective. And I'm not telling you anything that Pete Egoscue wouldn't tell you. He would say, for some reason, I was given basically the instincts or a third eye to be able to see the body in a way that was so simple that a practitioner like Gray Cook with FMS would say, Pete Egoscue came into our functional world with no blinders on and was able to tell us what we're doing wrong. And that was such a massive statement. Kelly Starrett, the same thing. He'll tell you, I'm in love with Pete Egoscue's work. It does this, this, this. Because these guys know the truth. And that's why they're so good at what they do. When you do your Egoscue first, it changes everything.
And I was just going to say, for me anyway, it was deceptive because the exercises were so easy, right? I came into the mindset, well, if an exercise is going to be an exercise, it's got to be hard, right? And in fact, I would go through the exercises, and after a couple of days, I call up Rick and I'm like, when do I start adding resistance to these exercises? He's like, don't do that. Resist the urge to do that. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. So it's not the compliance of doing it daily is the only hard part. The exercises themselves are pretty easy. It's a great warm up before or a cool down.
And that's the key right there, because in your world, in this paleo world where we live, right, because I've spoken at your events and love the people, you're just not going to get me to walk around without my shirt on. You just don't want to see that. But it's what if we just viewed it as, instead of I'm broken, I'm trying to get myself to the next level. For example, when I was working with Connor, I can't say to him, you're broken, your posture sucks, and blah, blah, blah. What I did tell him was this. I showed him that picture. We're at UFC in Vegas, and I said, you were at such an unfair advantage, not as a fighter, but look at the body you took into this versus this. He goes, yeah, Brian, but I was in great shape. I said, I get it. You're in great shape. But when your feet are out here at 60 degrees, your pelvis is going here, and you trained on a bicycle for everything, that's what I want to change with you. So 12 days out, we added a stimulus. By the way, the smartest athlete I think I've ever worked with. He clicked and went, I get it. I've got to do this. He looks right at his coach and goes, we have to implement this, 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 this. And the coach goes, you got him now. Because I had to get the fighter to buy in.
Right.
And that's massive, because he understands when he's throwing a punch, you don't want to get hit by his left. You just don't. Well, you don't want to get hit at all.
You don't want to get hit at all. You don't want to get kicked. You don't want to get anywhere near that.
Or the headbutt, where he's he won the last fight by putting the shoulder up. Like the fight, people are like, never been seen before. And I'm like, because he understands where the drive comes from. The kid completely understood a hip drives the leg into the floor, and the hip drives the shoulder up into Cowboy's face 4 times, broke his nose, ended the fight.
Right.
Like, guys, and everybody's like, that's such a cool move. When you talk to Chuck Liddell, Chuck's like, yeah, it's a good move. A lot of guys use it. But he was very easily driving from his leg up through the body, which, guys, for us, our generation, we would go, yeah, if I want to throw a ball, I'm going to throw it from here, then my arm will come through. It just makes sense. But to a lot of kids these days, they throw with their arms.
Right. And here's another point, too. The other aspect of, okay, so my knee didn't hurt when I was sprinting and biking. That was fabulous. But also, every lift, I increased in weight, like magically. Wow. And Rick asked me, he's like, okay, so how you feeling? I'm like, this is fabulous. My knee doesn't hurt. I can sprint. I can go back to doing everything I wanted to do at 100%. And I said, and curiously, like my deadlift has improved, my squat has improved, all of my major lifts have improved. And he was like, imagine that. Your body is now working in sync.
So I'm going to show you the picture again. And I'm sorry I don't have a PowerPoint up here, but I keep these pictures on my phone to get people to understand that when I run into a question about, yeah, okay, but what can you do for me? I'm a San Francisco 49er and I'm doing this, this, this. And when we went under contract with them 3 years ago, people were saying, well, what are you going to do? Wait to see what happens in 3 years. And we were 7 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl. When I say we, I had nothing to do with it. Okay, I just like to say we because we're under contract with them. I would travel up there and work with them, but we have 2 guys full time.
I would say we as well. You earned that.
Well, they've earned it. They ddid the work. Look at the position of these 2 squat positions of a guy who owns a CrossFit in the Netherlands.
Right.
That's a before and after. Can you see the vertical load or the non-vertical load of the spine in the one before?
Right.
When he squats down, his pelvis is not able to move, and there's no relationship between the leg bone and the pelvis. So when he squats down, guys, his pelvis can't move out of the way. It's not able to do this on the way down. And if you've lost that,
right,
then your upper back becomes
right,
that. And then you start going, well, my shoulders are here. And by the way, oh, thank God for the bar behind me, because I can't get my arms to externally rotate at the shoulder. Well, you would think that maybe laying on a physio ball might help you out to do that. The hardest thing for people to accept is you got to take the effort away from Egoscue. A lot of it is on your back to prep you for the next day. And that's what I'm going to run you through here in a little bit, or a couple exercises standing, and then one on your back where you can go, okay, wait a minute. If this is the one that Connor's doing between blah, 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 then maybe I should probably do this before I go on my next Peloton workout, or my next outdoor bicycling workout, or my walk with my children, because you're doing 5,000 steps a day on your feet, each foot 5,000, but one foot's hitting like this, and the other foot's hitting like this. And so you're actually feeding the dysfunction while walking, and you're wondering why you're walking, eating paleo, and you're going, you know, I still feel fat. Okay, well, the fat word, F-A-T, I want to change it to P-H-A-T. And not just because it's pretty hot and tempting, right? Let's just change the word to put a smile on our face, but it's part of the lymphatic word. And when your foot strike is not hitting the ground correctly, you're not creating that ground reaction force. You're not creating the pumps at the ankle, the knee, and the hip that allow the plumbing system to move that upward toward your clavicles and your shoulders here. And no wonder you're holding all this weight down for guys in our rib cage midsection, and for women right here. Right. And they're not happy about it. I'm not unhappy to talk about it. I'll bring it up with anybody. And because I'm not 4% body fat to go, you should be like me. I'm far from 4%, but I'm healthy because my fat, my lymphatic system moves.
Absolutely. And quickly on the NFL, would you have loved back in the day to have treated RG3 before he went into the NFL, or even when he was in college? Because I remember distinctly that picture of him doing a vertical jump at the combine and his knees collapsing in, and people going, that's an ACL waiting to happen, an ACL injury waiting to happen. And sure enough, was he 2 years in, and then he was out of the league? I don't know if he lasted 2 years. One of the most dynamic players I've ever seen ever. I mean, yes.
How about that? That's a 4.22 40-yard dash, the fastest ever run in the NFL.
Yep.
Would you draft that unbalanced athlete? So when we were in the quote war room with John Lynch and all these guys, and I'm not telling you anything that's, when he was talking about him, John's a good friend of mine, and he said, this guy's fast. And I'm looking at this picture going, I don't care how fast he is, guys. So we gave it to the strength coach. Strength coach goes, yeah, but we can train that. No, you're going to train over top of it and solidify.
Right. Yes.
So he goes to the Bengals. I call the strength coach at the Bengals. Hey, buddy, blah, blah, blah. I can help out. No, we got it. The kid lasted 3 games.
Right. It's so unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. Yeah.
And look, let's go to the general paleo listener, your customer, who says, yeah, but I'm not RG3. I'm not John Ross. I'm not John Lynch. I'm not Conor McGregor. I'm not Chuck Liddell. Yeah, you are. You are. These guys get up in the morning. They sit on a toilet. They put their pants up. These are just human beings. Trust me, I know them all. Had dinner with them, joked around with them, too much alcohol with them in the past, stuff like that. But it's a discussion now about, don't separate yourself from those people, because I don't. As a practitioner, I look at it and go, yeah, you're just a different type of athlete. In fact, last night I spoke to 3,000 dentists, and I just said, look, dentistry is a sport. Train for it. Let's get you well while you're at home. What has COVID-19 given us that's positive? I can tell you this major thing. What do you think it is?
I think it is lots of time and the ability to self-assess and go in and make changes. This is the greatest opportunity ever if you look at it from that way. Let me slow down, back off. Where do I need to make changes in my life? And let's create a system and a plan to move forward.
Well, you just said it with one word. COVID-19 has finally given me time.
Right.
And time is something you can't get back. For every dollar business-wise that leaves your business, you'll never get that dollar back. You'll get other dollars. So that's a negative. We're like, oh, okay, we're just shelling money out. Okay, that's your burn rate. What are you doing? Control your burn rate, blah, 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 get your business in line, get it. But for you personally, your time, you'll never get back. So now that the opportunity is here, and it sucks, I get it, but you can choose another road. Life's happening to me, or life's happening for me. Now, which one do you want to be? Life's happening for me. And listen, it's easy to preach when 1 in 7 right now are in the unemployment line. 1 out of 7 Americans are in the unemployment line right now. That is devastatingly scary as it relates to what happened since the Depression, and we're in another one, blah, blah, blah. I get it. We're blessed that we have companies to do this. It doesn't mean that somebody listening to this who's in a hole right now has to stay in that hole. We can give you guys ways out of this kind of stuff, at least for yourself physiologically, but you'll never accept, and I mean truly accept, in your heart and in your instinct, life's happening for me, unless you're out of your head, which is telling you life's happening to you. There's a difference between I'm in my head versus I'm in my heart. And listen, I'm a 52-year-old male going, get into your heart. Yeah, true, guys. You've got to start looking at life and just going, well, okay, if I change this, then in the Eastern medicine world, my central chakra is in a position for me to be able to accept what these guys are talking about. So, for example, you guys watching, just look at Keith's hat. It says killing it. That is a mantra that when you put the hat on, you can't look in a mirror ever again and think the same thing. You're going to look in and go, damn, baby, I'm killing it. Let's go. But it's a reminder. It's a reminder. It's a reminder. That's what these exercises are. It's like brushing and flossing your teeth because you want to keep them. We're going to give you 3 or 4 things to brush and floss your bones, ligaments, joints, muscles to keep them. Because the minute you leave that aligned position, and this guy, what I'll show you on this picture, is the last, hopefully the last one I'll pull up, but this one's almost unbelievable. I don't even market it. This is a before, and I know some people saw this maybe at 19 when I spoke with you guys. This is a before and after picture. In 12 minutes of exercise, 38-minute appointment. Thank God he had a tattoo.
Right.
It's the same guy.
Yep.
And he's 58 years young. So he's in our age range where you're going, if you just apply the stimulus, maybe it'll get me out of here, and maybe my shoulder will feel better so that I can at least do some Viper throws, some look at my Instagram under the Brian Bradley. And I only did the Brian Bradley because Brian Bradley was taken. I'm not that narcissistic. You know, like the Tampa Bay Lightning had the Brian Bradley name. So, but we're doing tornado ball stuff. We're doing battle ropes. We're doing the tornado ball slams. All those are great, but your body better be in alignment first so that you're actually moving fat, PHAT. We got to move the lymph.
Right. Look at, I wanted to show everybody that, let me see if I can get this in. That is one of my menus. It travels in my bag with me everywhere. See the coffee stains? See how worn this is?
You know, we do have an app, right? Like you can look right out the app.
I'm an old school guy. I like to have paper sitting by me while I'm doing it. I'm just, that is just to say that I believe in this and do it. I go to the gym. I do the exercises all the way through. I get back with Rick periodically, check me out again, see where I'm at, because it so changed my, what I was going to say, it so changed my physical life, but it changed my life. Change your physical life, change your entire life. It works. And yes, these things travel in my bag wherever coffee stained and torn up, and yes.
Well, right now, that means it travels from room to room with you.
Right now, yes. That's the extent of my travel right now.
I will tell you in regards to the travel, and listen, I'm not the greatest salesperson in the world because I'm I'm a giver. Like I'm going, I want you to feel this. Just try it out, which is why I'll give you some stuff here in a second.
Right.
But anybody who's interested in an evaluation specifically about them, trust me when I tell you, Rick in Austin, myself, the staff here in Del Mar, we have the time. Other clinics around the country, their employees now have a little bit more time on their hands. You contact me, I'll make this deal. The first 100 people who email me, bbradley@egoscue.com or corporate@egoscue.com, and the spelling's back there. You can see how to spell Egoscue. Corporate@Egoscue or bbradley@Egoscue, BBRADLEY. The first 100 people will get you up on Skype, FaceTime, Zoom at no charge. We'll do the evaluation. We'll take pictures of you. We'll show you what the dysfunction is, and we'll go from there. And if all you did was go to Amazon and buy the pain-free book, or on the other end of the spectrum, you said, bro, this is amazing. How do I get coaching from you guys in detail now that COVID-19 has given me time finally to take care of me? Either way, and I have stuff in between that we can put together. And of course, everybody has COVID-19 pricing and discounts. It's the right thing to do for people right now when 1 in 7 is in the unemployment line. But that means there's 6 people who aren't.
Right.
Right? So there's people out there who are going, well, I don't want to spend a fortune. I don't want to deplete my savings. You don't have to, guys. And at least let us give you a driver to say, here's where your body looks like and here's where it is right now. I would suggest you go pick up an $18 book, or I would suggest you go do our digital therapy or something like that. I mean, there's all kinds of things for you to do. But again, I'll just put it out there. First 100 people, you email me, corporate@Egoscue, bbradley@Egoscue. I've always loved the Paleo FX stuff. I could go into my shelf in there and pull out the paleo seasoning that I buy over here at, I know they were one of your vendors, and we'll do a little plug for them. Amazing, by the way. My burgers last night were amazing with that stuff. So look, it's your community is so well connected, so loving to each other that this is unacceptable for you to accept that this is where your body should be. And actually your body should be like that. That's the vertical alignment that the body should be. And Keith, how do you like my new haircut, buddy?
I did. I was going to ask you, who gave you your haircut when we're there? You go. Nice.
Check this out, though.
Yeah. So
Mohawk it, baby.
Mohawk it. So I'm using this opportunity. So I've had my hair longer before, but I can't ever get past that in-between stage where it kind of turns into a mushroom, and I've got very, very thick hair. It just gets, so this might push me past that in-between point. So if I show up with I call it Keith in college length hair at the next Paleo FX, that's what happened. I finally just busted through that awkward state, which is why I'm wearing a cap quite a bit. So
you've inspired me to show you one last picture. And I only show you this because this was, if anybody grew up in the 80s, okay, so now remember, this is the 80s. This wasn't my choice.
No judgment, brother.
And this is us pretending that we were bodybuilding. Look at that hair.
Yes, there we go.
I had a tail, 6 inches on my back, and people are like, "It's so cool." And I'm like, "Bring the mullet back, baby. Bring the mullet back." Okay.
Oh man. Show us those exercises, Brian, real quick.
Yep. Let me adjust my office.
And for everybody listening, I will drop in the comments Brian's email address. I just can't, if I try to type right now, my computer's at an awkward position. So I will take care of that after this goes up.
Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of this white background for some of them. But ideally, I would want everybody to stand up and get your feet in a comfortable position wherever you want to stand. So my feet are pretty straight. They're not turned out like this. Mm-hmm. I'm not leaning like this. Just get into what your normal stance is. And then close your eyes and feel where your body weight is from left to right. Do you feel, yeah, okay. I feel pretty even. Like for me, I'm on the inside of my big toe, a little bit on my left side. I'm more centered on my right foot. And again, it's only 8 o'clock out here on the West Coast, so I didn't have any time to do some stuff before we did this. Get that balance. Where do you feel it? Lock it away. And then do me a favor and just try to bend over. And you'll see a lot of people will bend, and you'll see that the rounding in my mid-back's like this versus the pelvis being the mover to take you all the way over. Now remember, this isn't a flexibility thing where I'm going to teach you how to stretch because, again, I'm at 8 o'clock in the morning, haven't done anything, and I can get my fingertips and probably half my palm on the ground because my pelvis is so used to moving me. It's a bone movement issue when you can't get past this point.
Right.
It's not about stretching this. It's about re-engaging here at the psoas to actually be the stabilizer and the on switch for the rest of the body to move. So here we go. Let's go kneeling first. Let's get you kneeling down. Knees are fist width apart. You're going to take your hands and put them in a fist with your thumbs up and then open them up a little bit where your palms are visible and they can touch each other like this. Put it against your temples, kneeling. And I'll tell you why as we go along. Once you start this exercise, I'll get up and tell you. You're going to close your elbows together and then open them up behind you, trying to touch them behind you. You're going to close them together. You're going to open them up behind you. Give me 25 of those. And one of the main reasons I gave it to you is that a lot of people's postures are like this. They're in a sway back, and they've been told they have too much of an arch in their back. This sway back, when I put you kneeling, we take it away, it lengthens your anterior compartment, and your body goes completely vertical. From the side view, I'm no longer swayed because I can't.
Right.
I'm in this position. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go, let's call this 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same exercise. Standing, you could do up against the wall and do that also. Next exercise is the arm circles, which is an easy thing for me, but I'm going to show you how this is a major psoas exercise. So think about this. When I say get your feet straight, I want you to fist width apart between your big toes and turn your toes in 5 degrees. That's the new straight. Hands in that same position, drop them here. And when I say pull your shoulder blades together, I don't want you going, I want you doing this. Just move the glenohumeral joint back. Hold that, straighten up your feet, bring your arms up, and then circle forward 40 times. But if you look at me from the side when I do this, just watch the rest of my body as I do this. Can you see this little bit of a, So that little bit of hip and low back oscillation as you're doing that, keep going, guys. Palm down, circle forward, shoulder blades pinned together, you're doing 40. It actually moves the body as there's a perturbance up here. It causes the reactive adaptation and stabilizing down here where it should be. So it's a very much a hip-driven movement. So when somebody says to me, my golf game's horrible, I give them 100 of these each way. So now let's go palms up. Palms are up and back, and circle like this now. Circle up and back 40 times. And you do that in the standing position with your feet straight. When I give it to a golfer who's having trouble with their swing, it repositions their mid-back, and all of a sudden they come through on their left side and say, oh, wow, that one really felt good. I must have really got my hands through. They're not wrong. You got your hands through. How you got your hands through is because your hip drove it through.
Right.
So we're going versus cause and symptom here. Symptom is just a symptom. Remember, it's an opportunity.
And this is to my point, Brian, that these exercises are deceptively easy.
Yep.
Deceptively easy. So fight the urge to think, this can't be doing a whole lot because A, they're not loaded. B, I'm not like, getting ready to puke after a set. That's not the point, and that's not this. Hey, Frank, if you're still on, brother, can you drop that email address in the comments? That would be very, very, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
So one of the ones that I know that you're very familiar with is static back, where you just basically 18-inch, I'll do this in airports when we were flying. There's my coffee. And you're in this position, palms up, and you're just relaxing, doing nothing. So you want to talk about deceptively easy.
Right. That's my favorite exercise, by the way.
That's exactly right. You get it. You have one of those days where, let's pretend the COVID-19 stressor has taken you to the next level where you're really worried, you're depressed, you're in your head big time. You get down in that position with your legs up at 90 degrees, palms up, trigger your diaphragm in the breathing process, and literally say something simple like, COVID-19 has given me some time to take care of myself, or life's happening for me. Just say, don't say it out loud because your neighbors they'll talk about you. But if you're just relaxed there with your palms up for 10 minutes, I dare you to stand up and feel as shitty as you did before.
Right.
It's not possible, because once your mid-back changes, your whole thought process changes, because breath is life. Once you increase your breath, which is kind of important right now as it relates to lung tissue. So once that T-spine changes to a more vertical load, you've actually opened up the lower lobes of your lungs, because your diaphragm is now breathing and creating more negative pressure to bring air into the lungs. Guys, I didn't make this up. I just have a solution.
And it works. Let me tell you, it works.
It works, brother.
It does. My only regret is I did not find you guys sooner. Seriously.
Well, I said the same thing. Fortunately, I found Pete in my 20s, but I didn't really buy into it for myself. I would do it every day. But once I had all these injuries from mountain biking, I clearly understood the gift of avulsing my ACL off my tibia. I became the quote knee expert, because who better to listen to than somebody who's had it done?
Right, right. And Rick Mathis has a tremendous story himself about how he was, I can't remember the full, he was in an auto accident, I believe, that nearly crippled him.
Should have been dead.
Right. And just amazing. He went through a knee replacement surgery not too long ago, and I don't know if I would call it prehab, but he set himself up for that knee replacement by doing a very dedicated Egoscue regimen, and he was able to, he flew through the recovery process.
Look, I've known Rick a long time. He's not a BSer. He's
right.
a guy who just speaks the truth. If you guys ever wanted to speak to somebody about should I do Egoscue, just call the Egoscue Austin Clinic and ask to speak to Rick. Because what he's gone through physiologically, and his upper back being so compensated and adapted to that car injury, he has the picture on his wall. And I used to say, hey, it's time to take that down. You know, I don't still wear my high school Letterman's jacket. It's over. And he goes, no, I don't keep it up there for that reason. I want my customer to know I've been where you are. And that was a massive thing for me to hear, because I haven't had my catastrophic injury yet.
Right.
Going through these injuries, and when you dislocate your shoulder and it pops back in, your arm stuck like this, and it pops back in on its own, you go, oh, I'll be fine. No, you're not fine. You forever change the pathologies there, but you forever change the way that functional movement in the shoulder is going to be effective, because you no longer have a ring of protection around it. It's been broken. There's a hole. So if you become unstable, there's your dislocation position again, which is why you see so many quarterbacks in the NFL, or wide receivers. Quarterback will reach out like this for the line to get the first down, or somebody will reach like this to catch a ball. And I'm going, oh no, here comes the dislocation. Because this is a dislocation position. You know, when you go up to shoulder flexion like this, but it's really not on me. When this guy went to catch it, his shoulders are like this all the time. He goes up like this. It's limited. The ground hits his arm, takes it up further. The pressure's in the shoulder, and he dislocates his shoulder. And they're going, wow, he must have hit the ground wrong. No. You took the wrong body to hitting the ground that way.
Right.
Which kills me. And Keith, I don't know where you are with CrossFit stuff. I've never even been in one of the boxes. Like, I just look at them from a distance and go, I wish I was that brave. But I'm not. So kudos to those guys. But I'm tired of people blaming CrossFit for they're causing their pain. It is not the cause of their pain.
Right.
Cycle never hurt anybody. It's the body you take to it.
Right. That's always yep.
That's right. Go to the cause.
Right. It's always the body you take to the activity. It's not the activity itself. Brian, this has been a fabulous conversation. They always are fabulous. I love hanging out with you and talking with you.
I love knowing you, bro. Please
Yeah.
talk hello for me.
I will. I absolutely will. And I would, all of you fine folks out there, jump on that opportunity. I put the email, that is it, bbradley@egoscue.com. Shoot Brian an email and get going on this. I'm telling you, it will absolutely change your life. I don't care if you're an athlete, pro athlete, or if your athletics only involves trying to keep up with the grandchildren. It matters. It's a quality of life thing. For me, I look at it, you know, I take a high quality vitamin and mineral supplement to supplement my already awesome diet.
Yeah.
I do this in an attempt to supplement what I think is a pretty good frame and body for 55. And I hate to even say 55, a good frame and body, but I want it to stay that way for the long haul.
Well, you're a third of the way through your life, so it's
yes,
to be fun.
Right, absolutely right. All right, Brian, take care, brother. All you people out in the Paleo FX world, I will be back. I think I've got 3 lives going today. 3 lives and an interview today, so I'm going to be a busy boy, but I'm still going to get my Egoscue in.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Yes, sir, because it only takes like 10 minutes or so.
That's correct.
Yep. All right, brother. Thank you very much for coming on. Everybody out in all our tribe members out in Paleo FX world, I will see you again soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.